Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a topic that completely rethinks what a lot of people just view as a simple weekend chore. We're talking about cultivating the soul, the holistic power of gardening. Whether you've got this massive, sprawling backyard or literally just a couple of potted plants on a sunny windowsill, the effort you put into a garden does so much more than just produce pretty flowers or fresh food. It actually reshapes who we are.
So consider this. What if playing in the dirt was a natural antidepressant? I really want you to think about that for a second. We spend so much of our lives indoors, usually behind screens, constantly looking for new ways to boost our mood or manage our stress levels. But what if the secret to feeling better was literally hidden right under our feet? It sounds almost too simple, right? Kind of like an old wives' tale. But modern science is actually backing this up in ways that are absolutely mind-blowing. It all comes down to the actual chemistry of the soil. When you're out there digging in the earth, you aren't just moving dead, inanimate dirt around. You're interacting with a living, breathing ecosystem. And right within that soil is this amazing natural bacterium called Mycobacterium vaccae. Studies have actually shown that when we come into physical contact with this bacterium, literally just by touching the earth, it triggers the release of serotonin in our brains. And as you probably know, serotonin is that key hormone that stabilizes our mood, our feelings of well-being, and our happiness. So simply putting your bare hands in the soil basically acts as a natural mood enhancer. You're quite literally biologically hacking your happiness just by planting a seed. No way, right? And this perfectly illustrates why gardening is such a truly holistic practice. Let's look at the mind first. The repetitive, focused actions of watering, weeding, and tending to your plants, that actually activates our parasympathetic nervous system. That's our body's rest and digest mode, which actively lowers cortisol levels, our primary stress hormone. It induces this incredibly calm, meditative state that demands present moment awareness, pulling us right out of all that digital noise. But simultaneously, it's engaging the body. Getting out into the sun boosts our vitamin D levels, and performing those physical tasks refines our motor skills. It's like this perfect simultaneous workout and therapy session for both your mind and your body.
And those physical benefits, they are absolutely substantial. For starters, gardening provides moderate cardiovascular exercise. All that digging, planting, and pulling weeds really gets the blood pumping. But it's definitely more than just cardio. Being outside in the natural sunlight actually helps to regulate our circadian rhythms, which means a good day in the garden can lead to a much better night's sleep. Plus, the precise, careful act of pruning a delicate little branch or planting a tiny seed sharply refines your fine motor skills. And of course, just being outdoors, breathing in that fresh air, fundamentally strengthens your immune system. So every single small action out there is holistically engaging in protecting your body. Growing our best selves. Because, moving beyond the physical biology of it all, gardening doesn't just grow plants. It actively transforms our character.
The garden is just an incredible teacher. Let's break it down. First up, patience. Plants grow on their own timeline, period. It teaches us to trust the process because you absolutely cannot rush a seed. Next is responsibility. These living things depend entirely on you, and if you neglect them, there are real, immediate consequences. That builds a powerful sense of consistency. Then we have resilience. Every single gardener faces a sudden drought, nasty pests, or a totally failed crop. Dealing with that disappointment teaches us the quiet determination to adapt, persist, and just try again next season. It also sparks creativity when you're designing layouts or pairing colors. And finally, perhaps the most profound trait, humility. Because no matter how experienced you think you are, nature will quickly remind you that you are not in control. Nature is the ultimate, unpredictable authority.
Healing and connection. Now, the benefits of all these traits don't just stay locked within the individual. They ripple outward into profound clinical healing and massive community building. For instance, did you know horticultural therapy is a real clinical practice? It's used today to help people navigate some of the absolute most difficult challenges a human can face. We're talking about clinical applications for depression, severe anxiety, PTSD, dementia, and even addiction recovery. And why is it so incredibly effective? Well, because the simple act of taking a dormant seed, nurturing it, and watching it bloom powerfully reinforces a sense of purpose. It gives individuals this renewed sense of agency and self-worth. When someone is feeling completely lost, the garden provides tangible, living proof that their care actually matters and that growth is always, always possible. Fostering community. And when we garden together, the magic completely multiplies. Community gardens and shared green spaces are these incredible hubs for human connection.
when you share a massive zucchini harvest with a neighbor, or when you pass down a little gardening knowledge to a total novice in the plot next to yours, you are building generosity. You're fostering cooperation. In our modern and, let's be honest, often isolated world, these shared spaces naturally build a deep, grounding sense of belonging among neighbors that is truly hard to find anywhere else. Gardens in classic literature. Now, these transformative benefits aren't exactly a new discovery. Human intuition has known this for a long time, and great thinkers and writers have been documenting it for well over a century. Just take a look at this timeline. Back in 1911, Frances Hodgson Burnett wrote The Secret Garden, where a neglected child discovers this hidden, locked garden. As she physically restores the dead plants back to life, it perfectly mirrors her own emotional and personal transformation. Tending the garden literally healed her soul. Jump to 1941, and Virginia Woolf's Between the Acts featured vivid green spaces that deeply grounded her characters. And this continues right up to the modern day. Julia Kelly's The Last Garden in England connects women across 3 entirely different eras, all tied together by the design, secrets, and restoration of one single garden. The theme here is totally timeless. To restore a garden is to restore ourselves.
Which perfectly brings us to this idea. The garden is a mirror. What we tend outwardly, we cultivate inwardly. Think about it. When we are gentle with fragile little seedlings, we're actually learning to be gentle with ourselves. When we are patient with the incredibly slow growth of an oak tree, we learn to be patient with our own personal journeys. Gardening is ultimately about shaping our own character through intentional daily effort. Which brings us to our final thought. We live in a world that absolutely prizes instant gratification. We want next-day delivery, instant downloads, rapid results. We want it all right now. But the garden? It refuses to be hurried. It reminds us of the profound beauty of impermanence and the deep, enduring value of just slowing down. So I want to leave you with this question to reflect on today. In a world obsessed with speed, what will you choose to grow slowly? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I have a feeling you're going to look at the dirt just a little bit differently next time you step outside.